I think what we're trying to do now is Cambridge 4, test 4. So as we all know, Cambridge 4, the earlier Cambridge materials, they were harder. So let's try to meet the challenge of this one. Guys, I'll try to do one test only, and then let's see if I have enough energy to do another test. So generally, we can, for the newcomers, this is the infamous, the notorious, the difficult reading test, IELTS reading test. Okay, I wonder if this is how they teach reading in these Western countries. So there are three reading passages. You can see reading passage one over there. And then there's the instruction you should spend about 20 minutes on. Yeah, every passage has around 13 questions. Yeah. So one of these passages will have 14 questions. So the total is going to be 40, 40. And then if your target is a 7, then you will need to hit 30, 30 out of 40. Only 10 mistakes are allowed. But what I keep telling students is we should target band 8, which is 35 out of 40. Yeah, so that's a really very realistic goal as long as we drill. Okay, we drill it. We drill it aggressively, and in so doing, we are forming new neurons in our brain. As your score increases, you notice that you have more knowledge, and then you are forming new neurons in your brain, and then you're going to these Western countries, you're more intelligent than you were in the past. Oh my God. Thank you, IELTS. So, reading passage one is all about um, sports there. So we can see there a runner crossing the finish line. And then, so we need to do 20 minutes for that. Um, you can see true, false, not given. The notorious, I've only seen true, false, not given in the IELTS exam. I love this question because it's so difficult and you learn so much from true, false, not given. This is like law practice, man. It's like being in a courtroom and then presenting all sorts of legal, legal, whatever, legal statutes or legal provisions of law there. And then, so 6 items for that. And then there's one word only. So this is what you call a fill in the blank. So that one is easy, relatively easy. That one is difficult. So there's a balance of difficulty level. And then, there we are now at 11 to 13. So uh, multiple choice, guys, is moderately difficult. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. Okay. So this is what we call a word level question, meaning you're only looking for a particular word. This one, on the other hand, is what we call a sentence level question, meaning we are looking for a particular sentence in the reading passage. And then finally, multiple choice, also generally a sentence level question. So you can see how they kind of mix the difficulty levels. You have easy questions and then you have two difficult questions. That's typically IELTS, right? So what I always tell the student is to go for the easy ones first. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna answer this one word only question first. Remember, that's already question number 7. So there is no rule in IELTS which states that you should answer the questions numerically. So this is now what we call the strategy, right? So we jump to number 7 because that's the easier one, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then after that, after we've answered these 4 items, we now make the decision whether we're going for the true, false, not given, or are we going to proceed to the multiple choice first. So if I were to do this, I would go to the multiple choice first and do the true, false, not given last. That's the strategy. So let's do this first test. But before we proceed, I just want to take a peek at the second. Okay, the nature and aims of archaeology. So you can notice that the topic is now more difficult. This is more scientific. I guess there will be some technicalities involved here already. And then if you notice, the reading passage has more words, right? It's more compact there compared to the first reading passage. And then, oh man, oh man, it's another 6 items of yes, no, not given. Ganito talaga. This is really the IELTS, guys. Talagang babatuhin kayo ng mga... That's why we need to conquer true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given. And then, so this is now what we call a... this is still a sentence level question. So you gotta look for 2 statements which are mentioned by the writer of the text. No. Ang tawag dito, guys. Remember, we had the word level question, and then we had the sentence level question. Next to that is what you call the paragraph level question. And finally, you have the passage level question. So this one is a passage level question. Because you can see that in order to answer this question, what you need to do is to read the entire passage. Terrible. So that one is hard. There, of that text. Meaning the entire passage. So the middle one is really tough. Ganun talaga, guys. That's how it is. Uy, meron pa. Oh my God, man. This is another one of those passage level questions. The middle one is tough. Oh, meron pa, guys. So 24 to 27, finally, you go back to the word level question. Kaya lang, just 4 items. Okay. So if I were to do that middle reading passage, I would jump straight to the word level question first, and then I would ignore this. No, these are passage level questions. They're hard, and then we will jump to the yes, no, not given, no choice. Yun. So by this time, you're already suffering from a major migraine. Okay, and then let's look at the third reading passage. Damn, man. This is so notorious of Cambridge, the earlier Cambridge. So list of headings. This is definitely a paragraph level question. Remember, there's the word level question. That's the easiest type. And then after that, progressing to more difficult question types. The next one is the sentence level question. That's the one with the yes, no, not given, or the true, false, not given, or the multiple choice. And then progressively more difficult is the paragraph level question. This is the one, the list of headings. By this time, you already want to puke. I mean, I'm going to go to the toilet. I think I want to puke. Thankfully, there are only like 4 paragraphs that you need to read. Okay, but let's check on the paragraphs if these are the problem of scarce resources. Gosh. So section C, section D, yun. So it's really clearly a paragraph level question. That means you'll have to read all of this entire paragraph in order to answer the list of headings. There. So what does that paragraph, section D, what does that paragraph talk about? Okay, ganito talaga siya, guys. This is really the IELTS. Okay, and then let's scroll further. Okay, so this is like matching type, guys. So this is like a sentence level question. It's relatively easier. You can see the keywords, right? 1945 and 1950. So if I were to do the third reading passage, I would go to this one first and do the list of headings last. 36 to 40, damn. They did not tire of the yes, no, not given. Okay, can you imagine if you're able to hurdle the reading test, you score a band 7 for the reading test? I tell you guys, you have grown many neurons in your brain. Okay, so if you were to look back on this reading passage, if this were your actual reading passage, what you see is that reading passage 1 is easier, but reading passage 2 and reading passage 3, darn tough. Okay. So maybe I'd like to do first reading passage 1, and then let's jump to reading passage 3, okay, guys? So, okay. So, all right. So I found a foundational rule that we apply is not to read. So look at that. I can't even read that, man. Okay. So there. So this is all about how much higher and how much faster. Like Olympics nga to, no? It's all about the Olympics. So guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna divide the screen into half. There. Kaya guys, when you do the reading test, you make sure that you are in a quiet environment, and you know that you you are at your optimum time of the day. I don't know if that's the morning or if it's the evening, because the reading test is gonna drain your energies. Ah! And once you can feel it, once your energy is so drained, nako, your scores are gonna be lower. Yun. So, okay, so intimidating, no, guys? Pero makukuha natin yan with practice kasi a lot of students are able to score high really in the reading test through a dedicated regimen. Talagang hard work talaga to, guys. Talagang you really need to think na laki kayo sa hirap, di ba? Sanay kayo sa sakripisyo. Dapat ganun yung values ninyo. Eh. Na ayaw niyo madali, nasasanay kayo sa mga mahirap na gawain, mga ganon, di ba? Okay, sige. So, let's go answer these questions. Any questions, by the way? Joanna, do you have questions? Joanna? 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 Are you there? Am I being heard? Joanna?
I think she's not around anymore, sir. I
Oh,
don't
she
know.
left.
Maybe
Hala.
connection was lost or something. Just
Okay. Sige. Message ko nga si Joanna. Yan. Okay. Mel, can you tell Kaya to come in already? Mel? Mel?
Yes, sir.
Kindly ask Kaya to come in already.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Pakinggan na niya to in the meantime. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
sir.
Kaya Oda. Is she Japanese?
No, sir. You're Filipino.
Oh, I see. She looks Japanese, no?
I think you're her lolo. Is
Her grandfather.
Apo.
I see. Okay. She looks like a K-pop artist.
She looks like Lorna Tolentino, sir.
She looks like a younger Lorna Tolentino, no?
Yes, sir. In
Why? Does she have the
person.
mole on her cheek? Di ba ganun
Yes.
si LT?
Opo.
Yun. Yan. Pakisabi kay Kea, pumasok na siya.
Hindi pa po ata kayo nag-send ng link.
Oh, you're not with her? Okay.
Okay.
Sige. I will just send the link. Okay, Zoom link. Mel, what is it that you do? Mel, where are you from, by the way? You never got to answer that question. Where are you from in Laguna?
It came from here in Pagsangan, sir.
Okay. And then Kea is also from Pagsangan.
Yes, sir. She's
Where do you...
a nurse and I'm a midwife, sir.
Okay. And you both work in DOH, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes. Under DOH, and we deployed in Rural Health Unit in Pagsanghan.
Okay. All right. Sige. Sacrifice na tayo, Mel. Okay, sige. Let's try timing lang, guys, just for the sake of it. Although let's not pressure ourselves with time. So alarms and clock. Ayan, kaoda@gmail.com. Okay. Alarms and clock. So 20 minutes dapat tayo in the first reading passage, guys. So I will do this reading test, guys, and I will give you insights on how I operate. So parang I will dictate every process that I go through. Okay. Open. There. Bagal ng computer ko. No? I'm waiting for somebody to give me a MacBook. Para every lecture na lang I mention the MacBook. Oh man, people are asking for the link. Wait. Why don't you save the link? Wait. Wait, guys. Okay. Yeah, people are coming in, sending the link. Okay. Me. Okay. I wonder what happened to Joanna. Okay. Kailangan pa naman si Joanna dito. Ayun, she's replying already. Okay. Kaya, just a few questions. Kaya.
Hello po. Hello po, good evening.
How long have you been working at DOH?
Since 2016 po.
Okay. And what is it that you do there?
Naiya akong mag-English, Sir Juni.
Oh, yun nga eh. Kaya nga kita tinatanong. Nagkaroon daw ng power interruption sila, Joanna. My data wouldn't let me join successfully. Okay. I forgot we're on recording pala, no? Gosh, wait, I'm gonna stop the recording. No. Let's just push through with the recording. Okay. So, all right. Damn, I forgot we are on a recording. So, wait. I should have done this earlier. I'm looking for a 20-minute timer. Okay, 20 minutes. 20 minutes there, 20 minutes, and then save. And then let's go. Okay, running. Okay. So, all right. So like what I said, guys, we will go first to the questions. Go straight to the questions. So according to Professor Yesis, okay, can you see it? Is that big enough for you? You can see that screen. Can you see it, guys? Can you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So according to Professor Yesis, American runners are relying for their current success on. So, all right. So remember, we did not read the passage anymore. We're trying to save time. We're just going to the questions and then trying to find the answer. That's how we do it. So I'm skimming now. I cannot find yeses. Where are you? Yeses. The pen. The pen. Okay. Wait.
Sir, ayun.
You found it. Ayun, si yeses.
Yan. Okay.
Wait, guys, I'm just going to activate my... Okay, where is the pointer? Where's the pointer? Where's the pointer? Yun. There, okay. So, yes is yun. Okay, nandun lang yung sagot, guys. Somewhere there. So, American runners are relying for their current success on... Ayun, basa na tayo, guys. Identifying genetically talented individuals is only the first step. So parang in the previous paragraph, they were talking about genetically talented people. No? And then Michael Yes is an emeritus professor of sports science at California State University at Fullerton, maintains that genetics only determines about 1/3 of what an athlete can. Oh, really? But with the right training, we can go much further with that 1/3 than we've been going. Yesis believes that US runners, eto na guys, despite their impressive achievements, are running on their genetics. I see. According to Professor Yesis, American runners are relying on their current success on genetics. Siguro yung sagot, guys. No? Let's read further. Huh? By applying more scientific methods, they're going to go much faster. These methods include strength training that duplicates what they are doing in their running events, as well as plyometrics, a technique pioneered in the Soviet Union. So mamaya mababasa natin yung plyometrics na yun. Ano? Pero clearly, andun yun, are running on their genetics. So parang this is really a test, no, if the student can understand that collocation or running on their genetics. Yun. Which means they are relying on their current success on genetics, no? Genetics. G na lang. And then Yesis describes a training approach from the former Soviet Union that aims to develop an athlete's strength. Tingnan natin yung plyometrics, ha? Yun. Whereas most exercises are designed to build up strength or endurance, plyometrics focuses increasing power. Okay. Am I still online? Power, no, guys? Okay. Power. Can people hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The rate at which an athlete can expand energy. When a sprinter runs, Yesis explains, her foot stays in contact with the ground for just under a tenth of a second, half of which is devoted to landing and the other half to pushing off. Plyometric exercises help athletes make the best use of this brief interval. Power yun. Power. Okay. And yes, this links an inadequate diet. So diet na tayo, guys. So nutrition is another area that sports trainers have failed to address adequately. Many athletes are not getting the best nutrition even through supplements. Yes, it insists each activity has its own nutritional needs. Few coaches, for instance, understand how deficiencies in trace minerals can lead to injuries. Injuries, guys. Yun. Okay, nakakatatlo na tayo, guys. Although, let me remind everyone, this is supposed to be the easier reading passage, huh? I mean, things are gonna get harder. Yesis claims that the key to setting new records, so let's look at records. Focus training will also play a role in enabling records to be broken. Okay. So if we apply the Russian training model to some of the outstanding runners we have in this country, yes, it asserts they would be breaking records left and right. We will not predict by how much, however. Exactly what the limits are, it's hard to say, but there will be increases even if only by hundreds of a second, as long as our training continues to improve. Focus training, ano ba to?
Training.
One word lang. So training.
Training.
Training lang ba yun? O focus? Training yan. Better. Training. Better focus? Focus or training? Di ba? Ang hirap no, guys. What do you think?
Training lang, sir.
Training yun.
Training lang, sir.
Yan, training yan. Okay. Sige, so, done. So, guys, if you look at this, parang don't lose track of what you've answered, no? So, parang what we've done so far is we were able to read quite a few paragraphs already. So, and then all of these paragraphs relate to yeses. So, focus training is over there. And then, diet is here. Ayun, nutrition. Ganon, guys. Para next time the question comes up. This one is all about power or plyometrics to, no? And then this one is all about genes. Yeah, genetics. Ganon. So, yeah, meron na tayong general idea. But that's like 4 paragraphs already, di ba, guys? Yun. Okay. Doon na tayo sa notorious na... Ay, dito muna tayo, guys. Okay. Biomechanical films are proving particularly useful because they enable trainers to. So, hanapin natin yung biomechanics films. Okay. Ganun lang, guys. Yun. The rest of it, huwag nyo nang basahin. Yun o! Woot! So, ano ulit yung tanong? are proving particularly useful because they enable trainers. Anong pwedeng ginagawa ng trainers? One of the most important new methodologies is biomechanics, the study of the body in motion. A biomechanic films an athlete in action and then digitizes her performance. Whoa! Recording the motion of every joint and limb in 3 dimensions. By applying Newton's laws to these motions, we can say that this athlete's run is not fast enough, but this one is not using his arms strongly enough during takeoff, says the Pina, who uses these methods to help hindi mabasa, blank to date. However, blank made only a small difference, blank. Ay, nako. So, highlight areas for improvements in athletes, assess the fitness levels of athletes, select top athletes, parang hindi naman ito yon. Pagka multiple choice, guys, kailangan mag-eliminate kayo doon, guys. Predict the success. Pwedeng ito yun, guys. Assessing ba the fitness levels yon? May binanggit bang ganon? Okay. Wala itong assessing the fitness levels. Wala yun. Itong predict the success, parang hindi rin, guys. Kasi parang nabasa ko dun, oh. Nakita niyo yun? However, made only a small difference. Di mali din yun. We eliminated 3, so we are left with only 1. Yun na yun. So, ang multiple choice is really a process of elimination. And try to eliminate as quick as possible. Yun, so now we are getting a greater idea of what this passage is all about, biomechanics na yan. And then biomechanics specialists use theoretical models to, ayun, yung soften the, let's look for the Fosbury flop. Okay. So revolutionary ideas still come from the athletes themselves. Okay. For example, during the 1968 Olympics in New Mexico, a relatively unknown high jumper named Fosbury won the gold by going over the bar backwards, in complete contradiction of all the received high jumping wisdom. A move instantly dubbed the Fosbury flop. Fosbury himself did not know what he was doing. That understanding took the later analysis of biomechanics specialists who put their minds to comprehending something that was too complex and unorthodox ever to have been invented through their own mathematical simulation. So parang explained. Ayun, explain siguro yan, guys. Hindi naman correct. Hindi naman create, di ba?
Yeah.
Hindi create yun kasi never daw nila magagawa yun, no? Fosbury also required another element that lies behind many improvements in athletic performance, an innovation in athletic equipment. In Fosbury's case, it was the cushions that jumpers land on. Traditionally, high jumpers would land in pits filled with sawdust. But by Fosbury's time, sawdust pits had been replaced by soft foam cushions ideal for flopping. So wala na siguro yun. This is just all about, yun, soften. Hindi yun. Diba? Correct? Hindi rin yun. Di yun. Di yun. Ganun lang, guys. Meron pa tayong yes, no, not, true, false, not given mamaya. John Raglin believes our current knowledge of athletics is. Nasaan ka na, Raglin? Where are you? Nasaan ka? Nasaan siya? Ayun. Here you are. Basa na tayo, guys. And then, most people who examine Human performance are humbled by the resourcefulness of athletes and the powers of the human body. Once you study athletics, you learn that it's a vexingly complex issue. A sports psychologist at Incana University, core performance is not a simple or mundane thing of higher, faster, longer. So many athletes, huh?
Variables.
So many variables enter into the equation, and our understanding in many cases is fundamental. So basic palang understanding. We got a long way to go. For the foreseeable future, records will be made to be broken. So ang sinabi ni John Ragland dito is complex ang improvement of performance. It's complex. Believes our current knowledge of athletics is mistaken. Hindi. Pwedeng basic ganun, guys. Hindi naman diverse. Parang theoretical. May theoretical ba yun? So many variables enter into the equation. And our understanding is fundamental. O yun na yun, guys. Hindi naman diverse. Yung theoretical na lang ang iniisip ko eh. Kaya lang parang mas tama yung fundamental for me. Okay. So, bakit na tayo doon? So, modern official athletic records date back from about 1900. So, hanapin natin yung keyword na yun. 1900. Wait. So, guys, if you remember, we began reading from yeses. No? So, marami tayong hindi nabasa. So, nandoon, no? Etong 2 paragraphs na to. Sana nandiyan na lang yung true, false, not given. Okay. Parang naalala ko yung tanong na to. Parang naalala ko to kay Rodsit. Tinanong niya to eh. Modern official athletic records. Okay. Take note, modern. No? Modern. So, ganun. That's how true, false, not given is. We look at each word, no? Parang sa writing, cardinal rule 2 lang yan. Date from 1900. Modern, na modern. Since the early years of the 20th century, yun na yung 1900. Kasi the 20th century is 1900 to 1999. When the International Athletic Federation began keeping records, there's been a steady improvement in how fast athletes run, how high they jump, and how far they're able to hurl massive objects, themselves included, through space. Yun na yun, guys. When began keeping records. So modern official athletic records date from about 1900. So true sa akin yun, guys. What you think? Tagalogin natin, no? Ang mga modernong mga records ay nagmula nung about 1900. Oh, yun, oh, began keeping records. Oh, di ba?
Kahit wala yung ano sir, yung modern official.
Modern official. When the International Athletic Federation began keeping records. Basa pa nga ako, guys. Sometimes kasi wala pala doon, nasa ibang wala na eh. Wala na. At the 1908 Olympics, John Hayes of the US team ran a marathon in a time of 2 hours 55 minutes. In 1999, Morocco's Khalid set a new records of 2 hours and 5 minutes, almost 30% fast.
True.
So, bakit wala yung modern? Hmm,
Yun ba yung ano? Baka yun yung ano, sir, yung modern, yung since early years of. Yung modern siya
yun na
ng
yung modern niya.
1990s.
Yun na yung modern.
Since early years of 20th century.
Combining na yun ng modern tsaka yung 1900. Yun. Tsaka, yung official naman, yun na yung official IEF. Ayun, date from about, began keeping records. So, ibig sabihin, dun lang sila nag-umpisa. They started there. Pag hindi true yan, ewan ko na, no? Na-analyze na natin eh. There was little improvement in athletic performance before the 20th century. Meron bang binanggit nun? Parang wala naman dito. Over the past century, the composition of the human gene pool has not changed appreciably, but with increasing global participation in athletics and greater rewards with temp athletes, it's more likely that individuals possessing the unique complement of genes can be identified. Was there someone like Michael Johnson in the 1920s? Tapina asked. I'm sure there was, but his talent was probably never realized. And nandito lang yun, guys. Little improvement daw, huh? Before the 20th century, wala naman ako nakikitang before the 20th century. Wala. Oh, this one, si John Hayes, Oh, 1999. Yung isa, 1908. Oh, lahat yan 20th century. Wala, not given. Wala to eh, oh. Wala yun. Wala. Pag hindi not given yan, nako, ewan ko na. Diba? Wala akong nakita before the 20th century. Wala po. Little improvement. Ayun oh! Steady improvement. Wala eh. Before the 20th century nga, wala yun. Not given yun. Yun. So parang abogado, it's like being a lawyer, no? Parang you're looking at every word or phrase. And then performances improve most greatly in events requiring an intensive burst of energy. Where is that? Not given na naman. Ayun. Ayun. There. So, performances improve most greatly. For the so-called power events that require a relatively brief explosive release of energy, like the 100-meter sprint and the long jump, times and distances have been improved 10 to 20% most greatly. I'm looking at this. Pinakamaganda ba doon? Most greatly. In the endurance events, ayun, the results have been more dramatic. I found you, man. I found you. Most greatly daw. Hindi sa ano yon. Dito yon sa endurance events, guys. False ka. Diba? At saka parang I had a suspicion na false na to kasi true na yon, not given na yon, false na to. Okay. And then improvements in athletic performance can be fully explained by genetics. Parang false na naman, guys. Genetics. Identifying genetically talented individuals is only the first step. Ayun. Fully explained. Mali. It's only the first step, di ba? Di ba, guys? Tama ako? So, false ka. Improving athletic performance. Improving. I'm looking for improving athletics. Improving athletic performance. Ayun naman yun. Ayun oh. Ayun. No one theory can explain improvements in performance. O can be fully explained by genetics. False ka talaga. Pag hindi tama yan, ewan ko na. False yan.
Sir, yung continuation nun, sir, nang binasa mo.
Wait.
Continuation, sir.
But the most important factor has been genetics.
Improvements. But the most important factor has been genetics.
Oh my God.
Ayun na, sir.
Can be fully explained. Hindi guys eh. No one theory.
Pero hindi siya fully explained. But most
No,
important
hindi siya
factors
fully
been.
explained.
Hindi siya fully explained. No one can explain
The
their
most
performance,
important
but the
factor
most
has been
important.
genetics. Pero, oh my God. Can be, ito guys, ito yun oh. Can be fully explained. Pero nakita ko to guys, yun, no
Pero no
one
improvement siya
theory,
no one, for sure, sir.
can explain.
No one theory can
Oh,
explain. Pero diyan kasi improvements in athletics, tama. No one.
can be fully
Full siya.
explained. Oh, diba? Parang naglalabanan yung
Pero
dalawa.
sabi kasi no one theory can explain improvements.
Oo,
Sabi dito sa kabila,
malinaw. Diba?
improvements can explain. So false siya.
Oh, can
Parang
be fully explained.
nagko-contradict
O,
siya.
sabi dito, no one theory can explain. Oh, so false talaga sa akin yun, guys. Yun. It's like, you know, Your Honor, it's as bright as day. You can compare the two clauses, Your Honor. They are completely different. Ganun. Parang ganun. It's like being a lawyer. The parents of top athletes have often been successful athletes themselves, parang not given to. Not given. The athlete must choose his parents carefully. How funny that is, no? A sports scientist at Indiana, invoking an off-cited adage, over the past century, the composition of the human gene pool has not changed appreciably, but with increasing global participation in athletics, greater rewards. Individuals possessing a unique complement of genes for athletic wala talaga, wala. Oh, have often been successful athletes themselves. Wala. Meron ba? Oh, wala. Not given yorn. Hindi yung number 6, true na yorn. The growing international importance of athletics means that gifted athletes can be recognized at a younger age. It is more likely that individuals possessing the unique complement of genes for athletic performance can be identified early yun. So, true nga. True yarn. Oo nga. In today's sporting events, ang babata, like gymnastics, oh my God. What? You're only 11 years old. You're only 12 years old. Oh my God. And you're a gold medalist. Gosh, what kind of training did you go through? Diba? Okay, so you want to check, guys? Let's check this first. Let's check first. Wait, I want to check our time. How did we do? Where is the timer? Our timer stopped already. Okay,
Past the time.
we are past the time. Okay. So wait, I think I want to check it first. Answer key. Yeah. Opening the answer key. You should have opened that earlier. Okay. So Cambridge 4, test 4. Cambridge 4, test 4, passage 1. Okay. I don't want to see it. Go. Paano ba natin takpan? How do we cover it? There. Let's cover it with that. Like there. Cover. Ooh. What's the answer? What test is that? Test 2. So we're looking at test 4. True. Not given. False. False again. Not given. True. Did we get that correctly? Did we? Where are our answers? Where's the other one? Where are where are our answers? Oh, it's over here. Here. True, not given. False, not given. True. Gotcha, man. Murder. Genetics, power, injuries, training nga. Training nga siya. ADB. Tumama ba tayo doon? Genetics, power, injuries, training. ADB. So we perfected it, guys. But I think we exceeded the time. So we got to do it faster. But at least we perfected it. Yay. And then I want to do the last one. I want to jump to the last one. There. So this is how we do list of headings, huh, guys? Okay, this is all about the problem of scarce resources. Okay. Let's do this. So we noticed that there was list of headings at the beginning. Okay, there. So we know that list of headings is hard. So we will skip that. Section B is 8. So let's eliminate number 8. There. Okay. Let's move down to Okay. Ayan, guys. And then, yes, no, not given na naman. Okay. So, between 1945 and 1950, and then between 1950 and 1980, and then after 1980. So, let's read, guys. Okay. Nasaan na ba yun? From the 1950s onwards. Parang ito yun, guys. Sige, we gotta read this. Yun. Kaya lang, parang masasayang kasi may sagot na yung section B dun sa list of headings. Pero andun oh. Okay, so let's read this. What is new is that from the 1950s onwards, there have been certain general changes in outlook about the finitude of resources. Okay. As a whole, and of healthcare resources in particular, as well as more specific changes regarding the clientele of healthcare resources and the cost to the community of those resources. Thus, in the 1950s and 1960s, there emerged an awareness in Western society that resources for the provision of fossil fuel energy were finite and exhaustible, and that the capacity of nature or the environment to sustain economic development and population was also finite. In other words, we became aware of the obvious fact that there were limits to growth. the new consciousness that there were also severe limits to healthcare resources was part of this general revelation of the obvious. Looking back, it now seems quite incredible that in the national health systems that emerged in many countries in the years immediately after the 1939 to 1945 World War, it was assumed without question that all the basic health needs of any community could be satisfied, at least in principle, the invisible hand of economic progress would provide. So parang mali, no? Mali yung thinking nun. Okay. If you notice, tinatagalog ko, no, guys? So, the realization that the resources of the national health systems were limited, yun yung from the 1950s onwards. Yun. Ah! Yun. B. A sharp rise in the cost of healthcare. Wala akong nakita pa. A belief that all healthcare resources the community needed would be produced by economic growth. That was yon. Tama. Oh, look, oh. In the years immediately after the World War, it was assumed, oh, yun. Yan. The years immediately after the World War. So, A yun. An acceptance of the role of the state in guaranteeing the provision of healthcare. So, wala pa tong dalawa, guys. Hindi pa siya lumalabas, no? So, what we can see, guys, is now parang we have now an idea of what paragraph section B is all about. Kaya lang, masarap sanang sagutin yung section B doon. Kaya lang given na pala, nakakainis. Ha! Kainis. Parang alam ng IELTS, yun ang uunahin nating mga tanong. Okay, so, never mind. Okay. Hanapin, guys, gusto ko na ngayon hanapin to, no? Kasi parang it's easy to find. No? Let's look at that. No? Nasaan yung cost? Let's look for the cost. Wait lang, guys. I'm logging out my cost. Although the language of rights, can you read, guys? Labo. Section D, Section D. I will read this, guys, Let's hope we can use it for that question type, Although the language of rights sometimes lead to confusion, by the late 1970s, it was recognized in most societies that people have a right to health care. Though there had been considerable resistance in the US to the idea that there's a formal right to health care. It is also accepted that this right generates an obligation or duty for the state to ensure that adequate healthcare resources are provided out of the public purse. So when is this, guys? 70s. Ayun yun, I saw that already. Ayun, an acceptance of the role of the state in guaranteeing the provision of healthcare. So B nga. Yung rice na lang ang hanapin natin, guys. But I want to read the rest of it because I'm trying to answer list of headings as well. The state has no obligation to provide a healthcare system itself, but to ensure that such a system is provided. Kaya pala may mga private. Put another way, basic healthcare is now recognized as a public good rather than a private good, and that one is expected to buy for oneself. As the 1976 Declaration of the World Health Organization put it, the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health Let's underline that, guys. I think we need that. Is one of the fundamental rights of every human being without distinction of race, religion, political belief, economic, or social condition. As has just been remarked, in a liberal society, basic health is seen as one of the indispensable conditions for the exercise of personal autonomy. Ganda ng language, no, guys? Yun. So, para magawa mo yung mga pinapangarap, ang isa sa mga pinaka-basic conditions is health. Yun. So, parang may understanding na ako of section D, guys. So, I'm going to answer that already. So, which one is it? Tanggalan na natin ito. Wait. I think I'm going to the wrong answer key. So, the connection between healthcare and human rights, parang ito, guys. The development of market-based, no. The role of the state in healthcare, parang siya rin. So 1 and 3 are possible answers, no, guys? Damn. We have to find which one is the more correct. A problem shared by every economically developed country? No. The impact of recent change? No. The abuse of the medical establishment? No. The end of an illusion? No. So it's either the role of the state in healthcare or the connection between healthcare and other human rights. Parang mali ito, guys. Parang meron bang rights kasi, no? Rights. Marami bang rights yun? Basa pa tayo. The enjoyment of the highest attainable is one of the fundamental rights. Parang nandun siya, guys, no? Rights.
Right to healthcare.
Rights. One of the fundamental rights. Kaya lang, guys, parang for me, Section B is really all about the government's, the state, the obligation or duty of the state. Sa akin, mas tama yun. This paragraph is all about the duty of the state. Yun, for me, that is the more correct answer. So, the role of the state, yun. For me, tama din naman to, guys, pero mas tama to. The paragraph is all about the role of the state. For me, I could be mistaken, but I hope I'm not. Mas tama to, guys. Mas tama yun. This one is all about the role of the state. Yun. So that is 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So ngayon, guys, nasagutin na natin yung isang list of headings. Bababa ulit ako dun sa madali. Because I realized na hindi pa natin nasagot yung cost. Ayun, a sharp rise. Doon na tayo sa section E. Yun, guys. And then when we read section E, masasagot na natin yung list of heading dun sa section E. Okay, ito na. Just as the time when it became obvious that healthcare resources could not possibly meet the demands being made upon them, people were demanding that their fundamental right to healthcare can be satisfied by the state. The second set of more specific changes that have led to the present concern about the distribution of healthcare resources stems from the dramatic rise in healthcare cost. Yun na! What is OECD? Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Accompanied by large-scale demographic and social changes, which have meant, to take one example, that elderly people are now major and relatively very expensive consumers of healthcare resources. So, dumami yung matanda. Yun. Thus, in OECD countries as a whole, health costs increased from 3.8% of GDP 1960 to 7% of GDP 1980. And it has been predicted that the proportion of health costs to GDP will continue to increase. In the US, the current figure is about 12% of GDP. And in Australia, about 7.8% of GDP. Kaya pala malalaki yung taxes nila doon, ano guys? Yung health palang cost around 12%, 7%, right? Yun. Okay. As a consequence, during the 1980s, a kind of doomsday scenario, analogous to similar doomsday extrapolations about energy needs and fossil fuels or about population increases, was projected by health administrators, economists, and politicians. In this scenario, ever-rising health costs were matched against static or declining resources. So parang ang sinasabi nga nito is the dramatic rise no, in healthcare costs. Yun yung section E. Kaya lang hinahanap ko ngayon kung anong time frame yun. Kasi we need to answer. After 1980 yon guys. Wala pang CO. Yun na yon. Yun na yon. And then, so, pwede na ngayon natin sagutin tong section E. Akyat tayo sa section E. Ganun guys, that's how we answer. Hindi tayo nag-numerical ha. Kasi, this is a strategy. Okay, section E. The impact the end of an illusion. The views of the mandate. The impact of recent change. Yun yata yun, guys. In demographic change, remember? Or a problem shared by every economically developed countries. Pwede yun, guys. Pwede yun. Kasi remember, OECD, di ba? So, all OECD countries, yun sa akin yun, guys. Hindi naman pwedeng the impact of recent change kasi kailan pa yun eh. You know, the dramatic rise in health costs in most OECD countries. Yun na yun, guys. Yun na yun. Ayun, oh. Tapos inisa-isa. Oh. In OECD countries, 3.8%, 7%, 12%, 7.8%. That's the one. You agree? You agree?
Yes, sir.
4 yun, 4. Okay, so meron pa tayong A at saka C. Pero mamaya na kayo. Okay, let's look for another question type. Okay na to. Sagot ko na yun. Yes, no, not given. Okay. So, guys, parang nabasa ko kasi yung OECD, no? Kaya unahin natin yon. In OECD countries, population changes have an impact on healthcare costs in recent years. Meron bang ganun, guys? In recent years. Meron bang ganun? In recent years, ha? Kasi tama naman yung impact on healthcare costs, no? Tama yun, ano? So, ang operative phrase is in recent years. Lumabas ba yon? Okay. Ayun, no? Demographic and social changes. Ibig sabihin, there have been more elderly people, which have meant to take an example that elderly people are now major consumers of healthcare resources. Recent ba yun? A kind of doomsday scenario. In recent years. Nasaan yung in recent years? Ano ba yung time frame nito? So guys, parang I will take the chance kasi wala eh. Wala akong makitang time frame, no? 1960, 1980. Parang 1980 to, no? So parang I will say yes to that. Diba? In recent years. So mag-yes ako dun, guys. Eh wala eh. Wala akong makita eh. So parang we make the assumption na yun nga, recent yon kasi it's been talking about 1945, di ba? 1950s, mga ganun. O di yung 1980, recent na yon. Yun yung justification code for that. And then OECD governments have consistently underestimated the level of healthcare provision needed. Parang underestimated ba? Underestimated ba? False. Not given. Pwedeng false. Wala akong makitang underestimated eh. Wala akong makitang word na underestimated. I cannot find it. So, consistently underestimated daw. I cannot find anything like that. So, not given ako dun, guys. Pwede rin namang false kasi kita mo ang dami na lang 3.8 of GDP, 7% of GDP, 12% of GDP. Hindi underestimating yon. Kaya lang, I do not find the word consistently underestimated. So, not given. Yun. And then, in most economically developed countries, the elderly will have to make special provision for their health care in the future. Meron bang binanggit na ganun? Basa tayo dito sa parang not given na naman. Ha? Parang not given na naman, guys. Will have to make or wait. Tingnan mo ha. The elderly people will have to make, the elderly will have to make sila mismo special provision for their health care in the future. Wala akong nakitang ganun, guys. So, not given sa akin to. So, ngayon, nagtataka ako dito sa nauna na not given. Baka false yun, guys. So, malalaman natin yan by looking at these two questions. Okay, so it's time for us to attack this na, guys. Are you following where we are? Kasi, tingnan mo to, inatake na natin yun, di ba? And then look at that one. We attacked that as well, di ba? Dalawa na lang natitira, no? Section A,
Yes.
Section C. Parang yung Section A, Section C, yun din yung sagot dito. Tamang-tama. So it's time for us to attack that. Lusog, mga kapatid! Personal liberty and independence have never been regarded as directly linked to health care. Okay, so let's look at that. Nasa A yun, guys. So we'll read A and at the same time, we will answer the list of headings. The problem of how healthcare resources should be allocated or apportioned so that they are distributed in both the most just and most efficient way. Yan yung tanong, efficient. Yun. Like, hello, Farmali. Is not a new one. Every health system in an economically developed society is faced with the need to decide whether either formally or informally, what proportion of the community's total resources should be spent on healthcare, how resources are to be apportioned, what diseases and disabilities and which forms of treatment are to be given priority, which members of the community are to be given special consideration in respect of their health needs, and which forms of treatment are the most cost-effective. Lahat yon problema. The problem of how you should allocate or apportion them, no? So guys, I don't see anything related to liberty or personal freedom, di ba? So mamaya ka na. Let's go to section A. So, akit ulit tayo. Wait. Lumabas na to, no, guys? And then, lumabas na rin to. The connection between healthcare and other human rights? No. The development of the market-based health system? No. Parang ito, guys. Wait. Economically developed country ba? Walang na. Ayun, guys. Ayun, oh. Oh. Andun
4.
siya. So, 4. So, itong 4 na to, tanggal. Dito ka sa A. So, ano na ngayon yung E? The impact of recent change yun, guys. Yun. The demographic changes. Remember, dumami yung elderly. Diba? 7% of GDP, 12% of GDP. Yun. Recent change yun. Diba? Yun. Hindi naman to. 5 yun, 5. Okay. So, doon na tayo sa C, guys. Baba na tayo sa C. However, at exactly the same time as this new realization of the finite character of healthcare resources was sinking in, an awareness of a contrary kind was developed in Western society. The people have a basic right to healthcare as a necessary condition of a proper human life. Like education, political and legal processes, ayun na yung freedom, guys. Ooh. And institutions, public order, communication, transport, money supply, healthcare came to be seen as one of the fundamental social facilities necessary for people to exercise their other rights as autonomous human beings. People are not in a position to exercise personal liberty and to be self-determining if they are poverty-stricken or deprived of basic education, or do not live within the context of law and order. In the same way, healthcare is a condition of the exercise of autonomy. Okay, beautiful. Ha! Okay, so ayun yun, guys. Yun.
Yeah.
Tama.
Yes.
Yun. Swak na swak. Murder. Perfect na yan. Ako na, may ko na yung fog. I can smell the fog, man. And then dito na tayo, guys. Personal liberty and independence have never been regarded as directly linked to health care. Parang no. No sa akin yun. And then healthcare came to be seen as a right at about the same time that the limits of healthcare resources became evident. Parang yes yun sa akin. Tapos yes na naman yun. So dalawang yes, guys. Naalala nyo to? Ito, naalala nyo yun? That came out in paragraph. Kaya guys, importante din yung memory, no? Your memory of the passage that you just read. That came out in paragraph D. Nasa D yun eh, oh. Oh. Or nasa E ba yan? Ayun. Wait. Ayan, ang D is all about the government obligation. Okay, and then E, yun yung realization na hindi. Yung E is all about the dramatic rise in healthcare costs. So, nasa B pala siya, guys. Sorry. Ayan. Ito, no? We realized that resources were finite. Yun. Tapos, at the same time, nagkaroon ng new consciousness about healthcare. Yun. That's the one. Nasa B yun. Nasa B yung sagot doon. So, sa akin, at about the same time that the limits of healthcare resources became evident, yes, sa akin yun, guys. Nasa B yun eh. Nasa B. And then, B din ito, yes din ito, tapos ito, parang no. So, bakit nag-no ako
No.
dito? So, no, yes, no, not given. Hala, isa lang yung not given, guys. Kaya lang, ang pangit naman kung yes, not given, not given. Pwede ba yun? But remember, this is Cambridge 4, no? So the characteristic of Cambridge, the earlier Cambridge is hindi masyadong spread out ang pattern, no? Talagang posibleng not given din yun, guys. Kasi Cambridge 4 to eh. Not like Cambridge 12, 13, 14, 15, malinaw yung pattern. But this one, nagdidikit-dikit eh, no? Yun. So yun ang iniisip ko, no, guys? So pwedeng no, tapos yes, tapos not given, tas not given. Kasi talagang magsistick na lang ako sa NG, guys, kasi parang wala talaga akong nakitang consistently underestimated. Yun. So isa lang yung no. Ganun. That's my answer. So pero wait let's go back This is how we did it. So inuna natin ang parang inuna natin to, no? At the same time, bumabalik-balik tayo. We go to list of headings. Do you follow? Sinagutan natin
Yes,
to. Tapos bumaba ulit tayo doon. Do you follow? Bumaba ulit tayo doon. Tapos umakyat ulit tayo doon. Ganun. That's how we did it. Hindi siya numerical. Sinagutan na natin yung section E. Tapos naiwan na lang yung A and C, di ba? Bumaba ulit tayo doon. Do you remember? Sinagutan na natin lahat yon. Bumaba tayo dito. O inatake muna natin 38, 39, 40. Remember?
yes, sir.
Tapos inatake na natin itong dalawang to. Hindi pa natin nababasa yung paragraph A at saka paragraph C. Kaya, bago natin inatake to, we went up again to list of headings. Ganun. Inatake natin itong dalawang to. When we attack these two, we went back, ganun, pabalik-balik, back and forth. Inatake natin itong dalawang to. That's the strategy. Do not go numerical, please. Kasi you're falling for the trap eh. Lilituhin ka ni IELTS kung saan ka na ngayon pumupunta eh. Do you follow? So let's check. Hopefully, I was not embarrassed. Otherwise, we will not upload this recording. See? No, yes, not given. Naalala ko kasi yung earlier Cambridge, ang gulo ng pattern mo, men. Hindi maganda ang pattern mo. Talagang nagdidikit-dikit siya. Kaya talagang not given talaga yun. Wala talaga akong nakita. That's why I stuck with not given. Yun. And then, but remember guys, we are now dealing with the new Cambridge, right? Cambridge 15, Cambridge 16, Cambridge 14. Hindi na pwede yung ganyan, guys. Hindi na lumalabas yun. More spread out na ngayon. May no, yes. Talagang
Yeah.
nagva-vacillate. Ganon ha. Remember that. So if you were doing a new Cambridge or the new IELTS and you have answers like that, nako, I tell you, may mali ka dyan. Something's wrong with your answer. Hindi ganyan. Maybe that could have been a no. Or yun, that could have been spread out. No, yes, yes, no, not given. Do you follow? Do you follow? Don't forget, don't forget. This is older. This is the older Cambridge. And then let's look at our, tama ba tayo dun sa, again? Wait, 4, 1, 3, 5, and then BBAB. How did we do there? Does anybody remember? Oh my
Wrong yung
God,
33,
mali
sir.
tayo doon. Oh. Shit.
It's B.
Guys, I'm forgetting, no? This is older Cambridge. Nakalimutan ko yun, no? Hindi so it will not follow na lalabas yun spread out, no? Yun, kaya one of the things that made me answer C is because of the fact na hindi pa lumalabas yung C. And then I forgot this is earlier Cambridge, no? Yun. Damn. And 4135. 4135. Oh man, we perfected it. Yeah. Damn. 4135. That's how we attack it, guys. Okay. So now, guys, wait. I also forgot to mention. Do you see how we attacked yes, no, not given or true, false, not given? Diba? Parang we look at phrases or words. Lumabas ba yun? Stuff like that. Diba? Ayun o, yung consistently underestimated, lumabas ba yun? Diba? Ganon ang yes. We look at words. Bawat isang word, titingnan natin yon. Every word, all the phrases, that's only like around 20 words, 25 words. Lahat yun titingnan nyo, kahit isang word lang that can change the entire meaning of the sentence. Kaya hopefully we arrive at the point na napa-perfect nyo na yan, ha? Okay. All right. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
True, false, not given, or yes, no, not given. Yun. So, we did really well for this hard test. No, hard. Kaya lang, remember, we still have the problem of time. So, saka na yun. You just keep practicing the technique until you get used to it and you can do it faster. Okay. And then, pag mabilis-bilis na kayo, yun, it's time to start timing. Okay. So, before we close, let's look at the middle reading passage. We will not do it anymore. So, nakita niyo yan, di ba? You saw that. Ayan. Oh my God. It's a lot of words. And the topic is so scientific, no? All right. So, toughy. So, let's attack. So, yes, no, not given. Nako, 6 items, guys. Mahirap-hirap yan. Mamaya ka na. Oh my God, mamaya na to, man. And then, oh my God, mamaya ka na, mo. We attack this first. Ayun, and then, mark. Oh, yan. Can we try lang? Much of the work archaeologists can be done using written records, but they find blank equally valuable. So we will look for written records. The writer describes archaeology as both a blank and a blank. The description of archaeology, guys. However, as archaeologists do not try to influence human, the writer compares their style of working to that of a blank. Written records. Maghanap tayo ng written records. Parang ganun lang, guys. That's how we do it. Yun. So, written records. Written records. I cannot see written records. You know, archaeology at its broadest is the study of humanity. our physical characteristics as animals, and our unique non-biological characteristics that we call culture. Culture, in this sense, in called what the anthropologist Edward Tyler summarizes knowledge, belief, art, morals, custom, and other capabilities and habits acquired by man as members of society. Archaeologists, anthropologists use the term culture in a more restricted sense when they refer to a culture of particular society, meaning the non-biological characteristics unique to that society which distinguishes it from other societies. Anthropology is a broad discipline so that it is generally looked down into three smaller physical disciplines: physical anthropology, cultural anthropology, and archaeology. So guys, papunta na tayo doon. Pero at least nakapag we were able to now establish some footing, no? Out of that long passage, nandito na tayo sa definition between anthropology and archaeology, right? So anthropology, ayun. Yan, pero nakaseed na tayo, no? We have established a foundation. Palapit na tayo sa sagot, nakikita ko na it's somewhere here. Yun, do you follow? Doon, nag-seed na tayo doon. And then after that, so we will now be able to answer these ones, no? Masasagutan mo na yon. So we have already established a foundation in the article, no? And then move on na tayo, akit na tayo sa this time, yes, no, not given. Eh guys, wala na to talagang, wala na tayong, walang ano eh, there's no list of headings, do you follow? Kaya talagang dire-diretso to, iisa-isahin mo yun, no? Do you follow? Iisa-isahin mo yun. Wala eh, there's nothing to move to, di ba? Yun. And then just keep this in mind as you're answering that. Yun, keep it in mind. Tatandaan nyo lang yun. Pag ma-encounter mo yun, pasukin nyo na yun. Pati ito, keep it in mind. No? O yun, lahat yun, ano? Kaya lang, generally, mamaya ka na. Talagang generally, no choice tayo, guys. Iisa-isahin natin lahat yan. Wala tayong vacillation na ginagawa. There is no shifting from list of headings to yes, no, not given. There's no choice. Dadaanan natin yan lahat, one by one. Do you understand? In fact, I remember in my own exam, the third reading passage was the hardest. No? So sa third reading passage, guys, may lumabas na ganyan. No, no more than 2 words. Ganun. After that, parang 1 paragraph lang or 2 paragraphs lang ang na-extract ko. 2 paragraphs lang out of the entire reading passage. Yan, parang ganyan lang. After that, list of headings ka agad. Wala na akong choice. Iisa-isahin ko na yon. A, B, C, wala nang choice. Sometimes it happens that way. Wala na tayong choice, guys. Isa-isahin na natin yan. Mabilisan na to. Mabilisang basa na to. Ganun. That's what happened. Ang hirap kaya. Kaya maganda na yung ganito, guys. So, yung meron kang list of headings at the same time, meron kang one word or ayan, ganyan, modified matching type. Tapos meron kang yes, no, not given. At least pwede kang magpalipat-lipat, no? Yun, that's even better. Kaya lang in the second reading passage, no choice. Talagang sasakit ulo mo. Iisa-isahin mo yung yes, no, not given na yan. Aray. Do you follow? That is what to expect. Huh? So I hope we could have done this middle reading passage na talagang iisa-isahin na natin to. There's no other choice. Yun, wala nang iba kasing masagutan. Nasagutan na natin kasi yung madaling 4 na yon. Wala nang tayong choice. Dadaanan na natin to. Ganun. Pero since we weren't able to do it anymore, just expect na may mga ganun. Yun, may mga ganung may hirap na wala kang choice, isa-isahin mo na lang. Parang ganun. Okay, guys? Do you follow? And then again, do not time yourself first. Huh? Just try to attain the most perfect score possible. So like in our case, in our first reading passage, perfect natin to, di ba? Perfect natin yon.
Yes.
And then the third reading passage, one mistake. Yon, ang ganda nun. I-drill nyo na ng i-drill ng ganun hanggang sa masanay kayo na one mistake lang kayo ng one mistake, two mistakes at the most, no? Or three mistakes at the most. Kasi three mistakes, that's still an 8.5, no? So target mo lang yun, three mistakes at the most. Do not time. And then pagka stable na kayo sa three mistakes at the most, or if you want 4 mistakes or 5 mistakes at the most, band 8 yun. 5 mistakes, band 8 yun. Kung stable na kayo sa ganon, sige, level up na. It's time to add the pressure of time. Yun. Do you follow? Ganon ha. Do not time at first. Ha? Do not time at first. Yun. So that's what we did when we were doing when I had my exam in January with my fellow close groupers for January. Araw-araw kami noon. Yun, without the time first, no timing, no time. And then, after a while, ang ginagawa namin noon was Cambridge 15, Cambridge 14, Cambridge 13, ganun. No? And then, after a while, when we were getting really better, tinatime na namin yun. Ganon, that's the strategy. Okay? Yun, kaya that particular batch was a good batch. Mga 8.58 yun. Ang mga scores nila. Yun, 8.58. And then, I don't remember if somebody scored a 9. So I scored a 9, but I don't remember if somebody else scored a 9. Yun. Pero remember, I just sent you a score earlier. No? Band 9. Was that band 9 ng kanyang reading? Earlier, I sent you a score eh. Band 8 yung kanyang speaking. Yun. Ganun lang din ang ginawa nun. Do you follow? Wala mo ng time, di ba? Attack the easy ones first. Go for the harder ones later. Parang ganun. Okay. Vacillate when you can. If there's no choice, isa-isahin mo na lang. Okay. And then, before you know it, you're scoring really well. It's time to add the pressure of time. And then by that time, kahit may time pressure, ang tataas pa rin ng scores nyo, ibig sabihin you have formed new neurons in your brain. Man, you have mutated. You have become a mutant. You have more neurons than everybody else. Diba, guys? Everybody else is scoring band 7, but you're scoring band 8 or 8.5. Okay. You are officially a member of the X-Men. Okay, hold on. I'll just stop the recording.